Issue 3. This is the first Red Skull on the cover. I believe Red Skull was in Captain America Comics #1, but he wasn't on the cover until 3. And it's the first published work by Stan Lee. This is one of the hardest books to gauge the value of anything I've seen. And on top of it being very long ago that we had any recorded sale at anywhere near the grade, the book we're talking about is a CBCS Restored. So what the heck should it go for? I don't know. Bidding was $9,900. Seems low to me. I think this should be in the 5 figures. And it is. Hi and welcome to Grails to Astonish. This is the ComicLink Fall Featured Auction. Closings. Here we go. Origin and first appearance of Teen Titans. In Brave and the Bold 54. I did not know that. All new information to me. 9.4 of Brave and the Bold 54. Fair market's 57.50. Bidding at 3,255 and it closes at 3,900. I have nothing to say about this. Captain America #2. I have a lot to say about this. This is a book that I have a huge vested interest in. My favorite comic that I own is Captain America #2 in Restored 6.0. It looks far worse than this, much better 7.5, primarily on account of the reds. The reds on mine are faded. I'm going to say that this 7.5 was harshly graded. Well, actually, there's a big chunk missing. Okay, there's a big chunk missing from the corner. That's pretty significant. It's missing from front and back. The whole corner's eaten through. Okay, so there's your 7.5. Biddings at 23,500 with 11 seconds left to go. The fair market is 43,000. Last sale was 50,400 2 years ago on Heritage. Updating 34,000. $9,000 below fair market. A little over 20%. Disappointing. Kind of getting used to being disappointed by the sales on this book. It's the first round shield Captain America. It's got Hitler on the cover. Captain America Comics 1 gets all the love and appreciation. Issue 2, I believe it's rarer than issue 1. 122 graded copies of issue 2. Issue 1 has 206 graded copies. So it is rarer by far than issue 1. And I'm going to say with issue 2, it is not a result of people just not grading it. Because if you got a Captain America 2, you're going to grade it. It is a scarcer book. It's not that key image of issue 1. I understand that this, both because it's issue 1 and from the composition, this is a more classic image. But this comes close and keeps selling for really low prices. I don't care that much. I'm just glad I have my copy. I really like it. Issue 3. This, I believe I stated my suspicion that this is a Myers copy. Emily and Matt Myers, I believe their names are the restorers in Pennsylvania who do an incredible job with books. This has all the hallmarks. It's CBCS, which is where they submit their books since they're falling out with CGC. It's Restored 9.6, which is what they most often get as their grades. And it's a key book. This is the first Red Skull on the cover. I believe Red Skull was in Captain America Comics #1, but he wasn't on the cover until 3. And it's the first published work by Stan Lee. It's not drawn. He has a short story, I think a 1-page short story that they used to fill space in this book, written by a 17 or 19-year-old Stan Lee. So this is the first published work by Stan Lee. First 3 issues of Captain America Comics all are big, big keys. It's a Jack Kirby cover. It's sort of Jack Kirby and Stan Lee working together for the first time. Although if you hear Jack Kirby's version of it, it's pretty hilarious. He just found Stan Lee to be annoying. He described Stan Lee in interviews as this kid who wandered around the office. I think he was related to the publisher or the boss. Kirby viewed Stan Lee as a pest who he kind of give odd jobs to. Later on in the 60s, Stan Lee became Kirby's boss and the dynamic shifted dramatically. So there's clearly some resentment in Jack Kirby's description of Stan Lee in those early days. I didn't bother checking the guide on this. I'm not going to check it now because it's virtually impossible to get any sense of where this should be. Okay, fine. Since you insist, I will look. We have one in existence that has no recorded sales. No 9.4s, no 9.8s. All we've got is 2 9.2 sales from 12 years ago. This is one of the hardest books to gauge the value of anything I've seen. And on top of it being very long ago that we had any recorded sale at anywhere near the grade, the book we're talking about is a CBCS Restored. So what the heck should it go for? I don't know. Bidding was $9,900. Seems low to me. I think this should be in the 5 figures. And it is. It closed at $13,850. But we have the huge stain of restoration, the huge stain of it not being CGC. These books, 2 and 3, 1, of course, 1 is valued where it should be. It goes for hundreds of thousands of dollars in any grade. 2 and 3, though, they, I think, are undervalued for what they are. They both have qualities to them that are key. The shield for issue 2 and Hitler on the cover. The Red Skull and Stan Lee for issue 3. I think the first 3 issues, not just the first one, are all really important, should be very valuable issues. This is the last Kirby cover, Hotel of Horror, Register of Death. Al Avison took over on the covers, almost certainly dead now, so I can say whatever I want about him. His covers are crap, and I don't know where Alex Schomburg came in again and took over. Clearly not here, because this is still crap. Sid Shore's cover and art. Here we go. Here we go. Classic to Berlin World War II motorcycle cover by Alex Schomburg. 27. I don't know what the first Schomburg is, but somewhere between 25 and 27. So either 26 or 27 is when Schomburg took over, and his covers are great. He clearly put a lot of work into them. There's so much detail. There's so many characters. Schomburg covers for Captain America are like stories unto themselves. You have to spend some time looking at them to figure out what's going on. And there isn't one thing going on. There's 9 things going on. Also, does what's happening with Captain America and these chains make any physical sense? It's like an MC Escher. Should his arm be behind those chains or in front of them? You've got a swinging steel spike ball. Okay, he's holding this chain with the metal spike ball on it while he jumps over this 5,000-pound pressure plate, which, by the way, a 5,000-pound pressure plate, that's going to kill Bucky. You don't need to put spikes in the bottom. It's going to kill him, but they put spikes in just to be sure. And we got Bucky strapped down. He's about to be perforated. Captain America does not seem to be helping by jumping on it. And it seems like the antagonist who is causing this to happen is a zombie butler. Did I mention Alex Schomburg covers are great? They're an eyeful. He really earned his page rate. And we got a bunch of random Nazis throwing spears. Everybody's trying to make sure that what this zombie butler is trying to do to Bucky happens. I'm not even sure what Captain America is trying to do to stop it. But this is not where Bucky died. Bucky did die, but he didn't die from this. So however grave this situation looks, we know that Bucky somehow made it out of this jam. This is quite a pickle he's in. This looks racist. Yet another bizarre situation for poor Bucky. He's been strapped to a Japanese bomb that is falling, and Captain America has jumped out of a plane, presumably. I think it would have behooved Captain America to spend a few more seconds tightening the straps on this parachute before he jumped to save his pal Bucky. He now has to do some serious knot untying before this bomb hits the ground. I don't know how they're going to get out of this jam. Like, this is going to take a lot of work. If it were me, those knots look like they would take me all day. Captain America maybe has a pocket knife. He doesn't have his shield, so maybe on this particular expedition, he brought a pocket knife. But let's think this through. Even once he unties Bucky, there's a bomb, and they're falling, and gravity tends to only work one way. They're going the same direction as that bomb, so they gotta figure out how to get away from that bomb. Let's face it, Bucky was a liability. Things got better for Captain America and Bucky when they became enormous. Bucky's got a flamethrower. Oh, Bucky. Bucky, no. All right, so Bucky seems to have gotten it together. Nazis firing V5 rockets to New York. That's helpful when they write the destination of the rocket on the side of the rocket. This is a 9.6, highest graded 1 of 2. June of 1945. This is issue 47, so we're after issue 46, the notorious 46 Holocaust cover. This is 1 issue later, and based on the date, I mean, it's June of 45. That was the end of World War II, wasn't it? VE Day, Victory in Europe Day, May 8th, 1945. June 1945, give it some lead time. I believe this is probably the last World War II cover. Last German war cover. There you go. This is the last German war cover. This is the end of World War II. I never really knew where in the Captain America comics run World War II ended, but here it is. 47 and 46 has him liberating the concentration camps and ending the Holocaust, which America was just finding out about. This is amazing. I mean, I feel silly saying this should be more of a key because this isn't about comic books. This is about history. 9.6 copy, ends in 10 seconds, highest graded, 38,000 based on 2 sales, 48,000 in 2021 for pedigree copy, 38,000 in 2025, 5 months ago, both on Heritage, for 38,000. So we got 38,000 for a pedigree copy. This is not a pedigree, and it's 9.6 cream to off-white. You don't often see cream in 9.6, but here we are. 16,500. Ooh, I don't think we're gonna get anywhere close to that. 20,000. I'd say that's a great buy for whoever got this. Why in the world would this not be a key? This is the issue where the Allied forces won World War II. This is the last German war cover of Captain America. This should be a bigger deal than it is in 9.6. The 7.5, fair market 67.50, bidding at 6,100, closed at 6,100. I'm going to say this was one of the best buys of this whole first night of the auction anyway. And then Captain America went sharply downhill after this. This was the copy that had an inscription on the cover. Somebody wrote on the chest of this lady, "To my friend, Dr. Richard, sincerely, Vince." This looks like an offensive Jewish stereotype to me, which you wouldn't expect to see from Timely in 1947. And we got the last issue of Captain America closing in 6 seconds. It's a 7.5. Bidding is $2,888, not a Schomburg. Has a fair market of $869 based on a 2003 sale. $2,888, sold for $4,350. There you go. Captain Midnight from the Okajima pedigree. The Okajima pedigree was assembled by a young Japanese-American girl from California who was interned by the U.S. government during World War II at the Gila River incarceration camp. She was able to save her comic books through that period and continued collecting until the mid-1950s, with the collection ultimately containing over 1,000 comics. The Okajima pedigree is considered one of the most historically significant comic book collections due to its connection to Japanese-American internment during World War II. Amazing. And this is, interestingly enough, a cover from 1944 with some sort of pilot hero strangling the pilot of a Japanese plane. 9.4 white pages. I'm less interested in the price and more interested in the story of this pedigree. Sold 20 years ago for $748. These do not sell for very much money. The total population of this book is 14 copies. Sold for $1,901. Final sale, $2,650. There you go. I don't know what to say. Catman is no Batman. Catman needed to hire a consultant. You gotta think it through. Batman thought it through. He had good branding and good style. Catman is just one letter of the alphabet away. The shorts have got to go. You need pants. Not a lot of superheroes have made it work in shorty shorts. Oh, we got a sidekick starring the Catman and the Kitten. The Catman, you had a bad costume, not a good name, and then you got the worst sidekick. Tim is a better sidekick name than Kitten. Chamber of Chills, 23. Every one of the worst pre-code horror covers I've seen is from between April and June of 1954. April of 1954 is when the hammer came down. So it was like they knew it was going to end and they just wanted to push it as far as they could while they could. Chamber of Chills, 23. I'm going to guess this is going to be one of those books that goes for a lot just because it's so gross. 7.0, fair market 6,250, bidding at 5,300, sold at 5,300. Daredevil 1 just sold a few seconds ago. I like Daredevil, but he didn't become interesting to me as a character until Frank Miller took over. He never had much of a rogues gallery of enemies to fight. Later on, he got Kingpin, which was a hand-me-down from Spider-Man. The Purple Man? And I don't like issue 1. I actually dislike the cover for issue 1. It's diminishing the character that it's supposed to be about. And they knew that issue 1s were a thing by this point. They're basically saying, hey, this is a collector's edition, issue 1, buy it now. It's going to be worth more later. You started to see the comic collecting hobby take shape in Daredevil 1. Marvel, even by 1964, was figuring out that these issue ones were a thing. They were hot, and they wanted to sell this issue one by telling people, hey, we got an issue one of a new character. I believe I read that this Daredevil one was super delayed because the slot that was supposed to be Daredevil ended up going to Avengers. They were only allowed a certain number of titles. They were going to do a new title. They had Daredevil in the pipeline for a long time, but I believe they had Bill Everett drawing it as sort of a favor. He was a friend of the Marvel bullpen, and they pulled him in. Great artist, but I think deadlines were hard for him to meet. So Daredevil kept slipping, and they needed something to fill that space. They had the print time booked. So Kirby threw together Avengers #1 in order to have something to publish. And Daredevil ended up coming out maybe 6 months or a year later. I don't think Bill Everett lasted very long on the book. They eventually switched to Wally Wood, which was also problematic because Wally Wood was, I think, a raging alcoholic at that time. Stan Lee didn't seem to like working with him. He was difficult, and I think also didn't meet deadlines. So the early Daredevil stories struggled, and then they had Romita come on for a short time before they moved him to Spider-Man because he was good and they put him on a top comic. Daredevil just struggled. It struggled in the early years. But he's very popular today. $7,750 is the fair market value at 8.0. This is bidding at $6,433 until it closed a few seconds ago, and it did not move. $6,433. Then we got issue 2 at 9.4. I'm going to skip over these. 9.6, 9.6, 9.6. We got the first red costume in issue 7. Then we'll get to 38, which closes in 5 seconds, and I think this is the last book of the night that I wanted to talk about. Bidding at $2,100, 9.6 copy of Daredevil number 38. This is a Doom cover. Somebody told me in the comments that Daredevil and Doom switch bodies in this issue, hence the cover. Fair market at 9.6 is $2,700. We got the bidding at $2,100. There's a chance there may be some Doom speculators bidding on this book, putting it above fair market. Doesn't really look like it though, because it closed for $2,500. Less than 10% below book value. That is it for night 1. I am done. I'm going to go drink a glass of water because I am severely parched. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.